What's up, everybody? This is Dan Klein. I'm here with Corey Long. For everyone that's new that doesn't know Corey, Corey's kind of an early adopter to job killing and has done real well with it. For those of you guys that have been around, I'm sure you guys have heard his name and seen maybe some of his videos even before he came in. But what I wanted to do is kind of almost do an interview. You know, a lot of times the information that Brad and I put out in front of you guys is great. It comes from my point of view or Brad's point of view, and we're 6-7 years into this stuff. And so sometimes, my approach is possibly a little bit different than someone that's 6 months into this or a year into this. And so almost like to get some good feedback of, look into the future 6 months from now, look into the future 1 year from now, and what would you do different? Now, for me, it's so hard for me to think back, 7 years ago, what I would have done different, a year into this thing or 3 months into this thing. And so I just want to get some feedback from someone that's in the program, that's been through the program, that has plenty of clients under his belt, that's been kicking butt for a long time, doing upwards and over 20 to 30 grand a month in revenue, and just kind of get Corey's take on maybe some tips when people are going and starting and jumping into their first niche, some pitfalls that you ran into, some things that you would advise to look for, kind of just start there.
Yeah, man. I think as I was thinking about this, we just recently moved and we're now in a new area, and I've been thinking about how I was going to attack this new area, so maybe that's good timing for all of this. But yeah, I think some of the main things that I've learned in the last year are really the client, the customer that you start working with, whether it's on their site doing SEO or doing lead gen for them. Developing a strong relationship, really looking for somebody that's quality, that's honest, that you can develop a long-term relationship with is so vitally important. So I've got sites up that, in fact, I was talking to some guys about this today. We've got sites that have generated a bunch of leads that we've made, very little on because the client just isn't good at what they're doing, and we've had to fire clients. And when I first started this, I probably wouldn't have been as proactive about that as I am now. I don't waste time on stuff like that anymore. So our goal is to get in, find a solid client, find a solid niche, and I'm going to focus on niches now that are niches that I know are good payers, niches that I know are much easier to get either ranking on or much easier to make a solid amount on. So if I can find one that's going to be, if I can find one that's going to be a flat fee lead or something that's going to be a flat fee per month, that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, and I try to stress this as much as possible, but sometimes it's difficult. When you look at lead generation, right, the first way and the way that everyone thinks to monetize is, well, I'm going to charge them a per lead amount, and if I can get $20 a lead or $30 a lead. And I think from me, 5, 6, 7 years removed from, being just starting out, almost 100% of my clients I have on flat fee because I love the guaranteed repeatable income,
Yes.
And I think when we train, and we're going to get into this in the training obviously more there as they go through it, but I think sometimes people get so fixated on this, I'm a lead generator, so I charge per lead. And so what advice would you give people from a monetization? We teach these 6 different monetization models, which are, pay per lead, the pay per call, the flat fee, the commissionable amount where you're taking a percentage of their business, the hybrid amount where you're kind of doing a mixture of a few of them. We teach all these monetization models, and we have contracts for them. But, what sort of advice have you seen in your business that you would pass along that maybe help people get better, faster results and make sure they're not spinning their wheels going down the wrong monetization route?
Yeah, I don't give anybody free leads anymore. So we haven't done that hardly at all in, months and months and months. But it's all about positioning. And you had talked to me about this a long time ago. I go in now, we've got enough sites up now, and that's something that I think we did right in the first place was we put up a lot of different sites in different niches. which gave us a lot of validity and leverage when we go talk to people, because we can show them, here's what we've done, here's what we've been able to accomplish, blah, blah. But I think to get those flat fee deals, that's kind of what I just shoot for now. I don't even mess with any of the other, unless it's a niche that isn't conducive to that, like roofing or something that's kind of oddball. You can't really, I guess you could flat fee it, but it's really hard because of the cycle of the way roofing works. But but the sites that you can, like tow trucks or I don't know, whatever, that you can flat fee it and have a monthly flat fee. We just landed a deal with a big DFW tow truck company, and it's flat every month. And the guy, I think I charged him double or triple what the other guy was charging him before me, and he balked at it a little bit at the beginning, and now he's calling me going, man, can we sign a long-term lease or a long-term contract, because I love what you've already done for us. But I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have something to show. So from day one, he paid me. He not only paid me a flat fee, but he paid me for a lead gen site I was going to build for him that hadn't even been built yet. So he paid me before we even did any work, which I wasn't doing that in the beginning. I know you do that all the time, but I think that's something that if I was to start over, I would be much more aggressive about that now.
Got it. Yeah, and I think one of the things that's difficult, right, is confidence. So you're 30,000 times more confident than you were when I first started working with you. When you and I had that conversation way back when, and so we're obviously confidence has to be built, and so a lot of the process of delivering results in advance and sending leads up front is, number one, you got to build some confidence in yourself. And I remember you started getting leads for your initial niche that you went into, and you started sending them to the guy, and that gave you the confidence because you knew you could produce the product. So I agree with you on the idea of this isn't always going to be a model where you have to build everything up front and send the leads in. There's other ways to get results in advance going without doing that stuff. And you've been able to show off results in advance with some of your pre-existing clients or all these properties you have up and all the leads you have. And I do the same thing. So what sort of advice, that would you give, if you're basically just getting in and you're going to go into your first niche and you have no confidence, what kind of advice would you give to a person like that, that hasn't experienced what you had to go through because of the process we pushed you through?
Well, I think you get through the process as fast as you possibly can. So, and you were pushing me when we first started to get the site up, get the leads coming in, call your clients, and more than one site up. And I think that's still super important. I think in the beginning, you've got to get multiple sites up and pick some really strong niches that are easy to get leads in, whether it be cell phone repair or tree niche or I don't know, whatever, something that's going to be something that you're seeing success in the group and you're seeing people get leads for pretty easily, so that you can build the confidence quickly. Because I think that's something that over, now that I've got, I don't know, I was counting the other day between partnerships and everything that I have, we probably have, I don't know, 150, 200 sites up. I don't even know anymore. With everything that's going on. So with all of those sites and with all of those people that we're dealing with now, and all the different things that are going on, it's easy for me to look and go, yeah, here's what I'm doing, here's what we're capable of, blah, blah, blah. But it took building and going through the process. So speed is super important, and the faster you can get the site up, faster you can get the leads generated, the better. And don't, you and I went through this in the beginning. It's easy to get stuck, and so you got to get past those little things, whether it's you standing in your way or the excuses standing in the way or whatever. You just got to push through them.
Right. So, I completely agree. I think it can be a daunting, task when you initially look at it from the outside in. But now, would you say that now that you've done it, how fast can you get up a project? Like, let's say you're going to get up. Let's say you were going to do a results in advance and you were going to start doing some leads. Are you to the point now where you can pull one of these off like I can in a day, and you're in one? Yeah. Okay. it's funny because when you first go through it, you spend so much time because you're learning the process. And so I think a lot of times people they see themselves take, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks to get this first one up, but they forget this is like going to, first grade math. You got to learn. You're not going to be a calculus major, and be graduating college like I am, or like you were starting to be at this point. Like, you got to go through it. And so, but I think the advice that both of us would probably give is you're going to be able to do this so much quicker than you actually understand, but we have to teach you the core concepts and the core foundations. Okay, so another quick question for you that I think, maybe this is more of a statement that I see this all the time. So obviously we have, and we'll introduce in if it hasn't already been introduced in the video series, we're going to introduce CallSling, and CallSling is the phone tracking system that we all utilize. Now, it's interesting because I get a lot of people that they'll be in job killing for a couple months, and, like you said, you had that tow truck company, and I remember you put that up, that's like close to a year, if not a year ago.
It's a year ago.
It's a year ago. Okay, so cool. So check this out. So in the last week, I've had 2 people, and these people, they were generating leads. So the process was working all the way through, but they had a tough time with the business owners in the marketplace, which is why we talk about the due diligence and so much of that kind of more. I think we're really hammering that in Job Killing 2.0 more than ever about, checking around town and seeing what it's like. But the one thing that you did that I'm seeing these other people not do is they looked at those things, they weren't generating leads, and they quit on them. And so here's what happened. I got 2 emails this week, and these people deleted their CallSling numbers because they didn't want to spend the $15, okay? And now they got clients that basically who they had reached out to in the past that now want their services, and these things are or one of them it was that, and the other one it's the rankings jumped, because just because it didn't have a phone number on it doesn't mean the rankings couldn't jump. The rankings jumped, and now they're in like a super dominant position, which, as we all know, can take time, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing I'll say,
sometimes.
it can take months sometimes. You're not going to be where you're at week 7 as you will be month 7. It's crazy. But the one thing I'll say is, so you were willing to spend and keep that phone line going for the better part of a year, even when you weren't creating income on it, and that was your investment. Talk to me about the deal that you just are in the process of putting together, and what month 1, month 2, what that's going to look like from an income level, to make sure we can make sure people aren't quitting on these small little expenses too early, and then giving up massive amounts of money that could be coming in the future by holding on and using these things, and understanding that sometimes business comes in cycles. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. We started that site literally over a year ago. It has brought in no income whatsoever. But I've used it as leverage to land 2 different clients now, and hopefully we'll do it again to land a 3rd. So it hasn't necessarily generated any money, but the leverage off of it, because it generates leads. So I go into the client, just like this guy that we recently landed in DFW, and I showed him the amount of leads that are coming in, and he's looking at what the current SEO guy's doing for him, and I'm already outranking him with another site. So, he's not happy with his current guy, and so I take it over, and we've got 2 lead gen sites and his SEO for his site now all together, and all of that wouldn't have been able to be accomplished if I wouldn't have started with the site that I'd been paying on for a year. If I'd have dropped that a year ago, I wouldn't have had any leverage at all to be able to show him this is what we're able to do. So
and what
me,
does that contract look like? What is that deal? What's that deal going to look like from income?
We started out pretty low because he was pretty scarce. I don't think he was paying his guy very much, but it's $1,000 a month for a couple of little dinky leads.
Let's just do the math. Let's just do this is crazy, because this is the difference, and this is so mindset. This is such a mindset, possibly partially a cash flow problem, but not really when you're talking $15 or whatever. All the little expenses. It could be a little bit of money, but think about this. You put a year up, so you got your $15. So let's call it $15, $170 that you spent in phone calls or in keeping your phone line active for the year. $170. You got your Weebly, call it $9 a month on the high end times times 12, so that's like another $80 or so, or $90 or whatever. So now we're like $250, $260. So you basically, this thing's seasoned. You got $260 or so into this thing. It seasons for a year, and once your deal finally hits, it's $1,000 a month. So you not only make up that $260 that you know, it took a while to land on that one, but you make it up, and now you have this $1,000 a month. That could be a $12,000 a year income, and literally, and you're spending $260 a year to keep it active. So this is the stuff that, from a mindset standpoint, why I want to interview a guy a year or so into this thing, from an advice standpoint, so you can from a student standpoint, make sure that you don't do the silly stuff like put one site up, and even if it doesn't get someone, just quit on it because of what 1 month could return 2 years of investment on it if it took that long. I personally even have sites that are 2-3 years old. I'm actually waiting for a new business to come into some of these markets because I just haven't found the right business to work with. But I'm not worried about it because month one I'll recap all that investment, and I look at you know, it's like a guy that owns property. It's like you know, if the market turns in you know, like 2008 and you own all these homes, do you sell? Heck no. Don't sell. Like gold and silver and oil are down. You think you freaking everyone's, you know, if you're not in for the long term, you're going to get crushed if you try to you try to sell 3-4 months in. If you don't have a deal on, you know, you're going to lose all of it. If you hold, you're going to find something. There's going to be a way to monetize these things. And like you said, you can leverage just to show off what you're doing. Hey, look at this deal. Look at this client I have. I'm generating 300 calls a month, and people are like, they're very impressed by that stuff, right?
Well, and this client, you know, we started at $1,000 a month, and every time that we add, he wants to add 2 or 3 more lead gen sites. So every time we add, we'll just bump it another $250 to $500 a month, and it's just, I've learned really quickly that I would rather have the $1,000, $1,500 a month accounts, $2,000 at the most for some of these that we're kind of toying with right now. That's a very easy amount of money for them to pay out. And so, you know, he's like, man, $1,000 is no biggie if I'm getting the calls. And, you know, we'll probably be at $1,500 or more by the time we get December because he's going to add a couple more locations. And like you said, I literally amount that money, even every location we add, even if we only made $250, $300 on each location, I'm going to be out a couple $100 in a day worth of work.
Right.
And so it's not like you're out a lot for what you're doing. I don't know. It's just amazing to me. And we have other clients that
you know,
we've been able to do the same way.
Yeah, but you know, on the flip side, if you're starting out and you know, you scrape together the money, give me some advice for someone that scraped together the money and they have the money to get one of these sites up and everything's so tight, and so it's like, we're, you know, everything. Like, what's your advice for that person? What can they do, or what would you advise them from doing this for a while? Give me some advice points.
I would go after, you and I talked about this, I would go after the sites that you can go in and just switch them from a non-mobile friendly site to a mobile friendly site, make some quick money. You know, you can make an easy $1,500, $2,000. Moving a site like that, I mean, you can do that in a day or two. We've also gone after easy local listing setups because a lot of companies don't have any local listings at all. Or they're not set up correctly. You know, easy $500 to $1,000 a pop every time you do that. I did that in the beginning to make some extra cash flow. You know, anything like that that's doesn't take a lot of time on your part. You're not setting up a new site. You're not doing any of that stuff. As far as having to set up a new lead gen, I think one of the mistakes that I made in the beginning is, well, not mistakes. I just didn't understand it. I don't think. Is that when you said 45 to 60 days, it really is 45 to 60 days before you start to see return. And so you need to be working on getting clients, whether that's doing, like I said, the switch over, or, you know, local leads, or the local listings, or citations, or Any of that kind of stuff that's easy and quick and fast and stuff that you can outsource really simply just to get some cash flow moving.
Yeah, and let's be honest. No one should be doing any outsourcing if you're broke. Okay.
No.
None of that stuff, guys, that he's talking about. If you're broke, you're long on time.
Just do it.
You need to be doing it. Okay. The number one thing I'm telling you guys, if you don't take anything else or you're trying to get some income going, just week one, what we're going to teach you in week one, you can make multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars just doing what we do in week one. That's my advice. Is don't overlook the simplistic things that to you, after we show you, you're like, oh, that makes sense. That's not that hard. Don't take those and think those are just because now you know. Don't think that these business owners know, because they don't. Okay? They don't. They were just like you before you went through those modules. Okay? So I guess for the person that is on the lower side of, their things are very tight, okay, I want you to know that just in week one alone, there's enough knowledge to make multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars if you really want to go out and get it with just those simple steps. And you don't have to be waiting around. So please, 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 my advice 7 years into this, as you go through stuff, if you're short on money, long on time, use your time to get some of the week-by-week skill sets that we train you, prospect a little bit with them. You don't have the luxury of just waiting for the leads to come in. Right, Corey?
Yes.
Is that your take on it?
Yes.
You don't have the luxury, right?
Go after it. Go after it. Even now, I don't have the luxury. Go after
it. It's like it's amazing to me, and I don't mean this to be a rant, but if you're so broke or if your things are so tight with expenses in your life, maybe you're not even broke, but maybe you have so many expenses going out, okay, you've got to do something different. And you don't have the luxury of just waiting. Oh, I was just hoping to wait till these leads came in so then I could, they're going to come in. Okay, they are. Corey and I both know that. They will be there. But you don't have the luxury of wasting today. So you need to, you might have to do it differently than the person who came into job killing with a ton of money, and money ain't the issue. They're just wanting to get the skill set. They're willing to wait it out, and they're building these properties as it sits, and that the time is not an issue. If you are short on that money and long on that time, you need to move today, right? That's the biggest advice that I can give anyone in job killing is don't discount those weekly steps we teach you and think that just each and every person knows it. 99.9% of business owners know none of it. And that one little tip or that one little strategy we gave you, you can charge them hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for up front for you to do it for them. Right?
Yeah, get a check up front, get clients. I am, and you and I talked about this, I am focused on getting enough client monthly flat fees that pays all of our bills. And we've hit that point now to where the flat fees pay the bills. The lead gen stuff is just all cake, man. It's all toppings. It's all extra. So just like last night, I popped on my email and somebody had put money in my PayPal account, and I didn't know it was coming. I love that. Yeah. That's a new thing. Even in just the last 2 or 3 months, I'm just now starting to see consistency because I've got so many of them out there now that money will pop into the account every once in a while from all these different directions. I don't expect it because it's all lead gen money. So I want to bank on that flat fees that you were talking about, but that's stuff that builds over time.
Yeah, to me, the thing I love about flat fee, even though I understand that sometimes we gotta crawl before we run, I always kind of talk about the flat fee stuff. To me, the flat fee is marriage, okay? And I tell this, and I pulled this off. I probably said this on tons of calls, and so you probably hear me say it again, but it's important for you guys to hear. The flat fee is, to me, where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to get married to the girl. And so sometimes the processes and the monetization stuff that we're going to teach you in coming modules of how we move them and it's like getting them to just work with us right off the bat, that ain't the end all be all. So when I teach you guys to get kind of a commission deal on your first deal, that's only designed, I'm basically like teaching you how to walk up to the girl and say,
out of date, huh?
hey, my name's Dan. Can I get your phone number? Because you're really cute.
Right.
Like, that's it. That ain't the deal. So I want you guys to know that you getting the phone number, dude, the chick might not answer the phone ever, and the chick might have gave you a wrong number. So don't think that that's the end-all, be-all. Your end-all, be-all is exactly what Corey's saying. We're trying to take these clients, and we're trying to move them from a position of them maybe not trusting us. So we're trying to deliver some results in advance, trying to build some goodwill with them, trying to help them succeed first. But ultimately, we want to move them to the place where we can have a guaranteed amount of income every month. And like Corey said, if you need to make $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month, you might even, and Corey, I want you to touch on this, you might even charge a little bit less,
sure,
but have a guaranteed flat fee. And I know that's been my model for years is, you know, maybe I have, and I see guys get greedy in the group all the time, like, well, I should keep, this could be a $10,000 deal and I'm like, dude, it ain't ever going to happen like that. Okay. You need to take a smaller amount of money, have guaranteed cash flow, let them receive all the upside, you know, and so talk about that. You said to me before we got on this call, you said, I've learned a ton in the last month. Talk to me about this last month, what you've learned on pricing and stuff like that. I think it's so important that people hear this stuff right when they're getting started. It's going to get them off on such an awesome foot.
Yeah, I think I jumped too far out there on some accounts, and I got some really sweet deals on them, and it lasted while things were good. But, you know, it's just like some of the niches are going to have slow season. And so,
totally.
You know, you got this big old flat fee that looks great during the great time of year, but when the slow season comes, the guy panics, and then he's like, man, I can't pay $2,500, $3,000, $5,000, whatever it is this month because we're not bringing the leads in. And so even though we have leads coming in, it's not enough to justify that. So I think I've learned the same thing you're talking about. I would rather take a good solid $1,000, $1,500 a month account any day over a $2,000 or $2,500 that I'm worried about the cycle biting me down the road. And so, you know, I've learned this last month I had 2 accounts, or within the last 2 months, I've had 2 accounts come back to me and basically go, look, man, we can't keep paying where we're at because it's just a lot of money. And I've also learned that certain niches are okay with paying huge money and certain niches aren't. And so,
talk about what type of niches. Tell me about those niches. Let's talk about them.
Yeah. So, you know, the limo niche is a very finicky niche, you know, and you and I have talked about it before. You know, the limo niche, the summers is dead. Or where we're at.
In Texas, down where you're at. In Texas is dead.
In Texas, yes. In Texas, where I'm at, you know, there is just not much going on unless you're into charter buses. And so, you know, all of the limo people right now are crying in DFW area. Most of them are crying if they don't have charter buses. And so conventions and all that stuff are hot right now, but just regular limo stuff. So, you know, those are niches that struggle, and those guys can't pay out thousands of dollars a month on leads. It's not going to last. So compared to, let's say, the roofing client that I've got in Keller, who, to him, paying out $5-10 a month's nothing because he's making $100,000 to $150,000 a month. You know, just profit. They make stupid money compared to a big limo guy may only make, you know, $70,000-$80,000 a month gross, and he may only be making, you know, $20,000 net. You know, he's not going to pay you $5,000. He just can't. The money's not there. And so I'm learning the different types of niches that have staying power for those bigger dollars. You know, some of the medical, the dental, the tree service guys or contractors, roofers, those guys that make stupid money. My HVAC guy made $150,000 in June.
Wow.
$150,000. I mean, he said that's the biggest month he's ever had in the history because we've had this crazy weather down here. And so
and that I think that's what I want to touch on that real quick. Guys, Corey's in Texas. There's seasonality wherever you're at in the world, right? So like understand, and this is why in the due diligence videos, guys, I'm like, understand the market that you're going into.
Yes.
And I know some of you guys might be going, man, I thought I signed up for internet lead business. And it's like, yeah, that's the business here. You understand the business and the niche you're going into, as well as the people that own those businesses, that's when you start doing well. It's because you understand the ebbs and flows. You do your due diligence. You spend the time. You don't just say, well, shoot, I know how to get up a site now. I know how to do all this stuff that these guys taught me. I can just point and shoot, point and shoot, point and shoot. You can, and I've done that, and Corey, I guarantee, has done that. But that's why we're doing this phone call, is to give advice from someone a year into the process who's made fantastic amounts of money doing this, so you guys don't hit these same points, you know?
So that HVAC guy is the perfect example of this. We're at $40 per lead. That's what he pays me per lead. And he's the one that set that amount. I didn't. He said, I would rather do that than set some kind of percentage deal or something else. And, you know, $40 per lead is a chunk. In his mind, though, he makes $75 to $80 per service call. So he said, when somebody calls me, it's going to be a service call. They're not going to call and price around or whatever. They're going to call and make a judgment. And so that's what I'm learning is just what you just said. You know, learn the niche. And every niche you go into is a whole other learning process. So I have learned to go in, and I've got about 6 or 7 niches right now that I'm concentrating on, that I have learned the insides, the outsides, the upsides, the downsides, all kinds of stuff about that niche, so that it's not a whole new learning curve every time I build a new site. And so we've got some that are national. We've got some that are just local. We got some that are little dinky towns that you would think would never make any money that have made really great money. And then it's some in big towns that you would think they'd make a lot of money that have made a little bit of money. And so
Tell me this. You said something that I know that people, there's opportunistic people, there's pessimistic type people. And this is something I see in the group all the time, and I want you to give me your feedback on it. What's your feeling about, you know, you're in a niche and another job killer's in that same niche? What's your thought process?
I don't care. It doesn't make any difference to me. Cause
it doesn't make any difference in general.
No, the way the process works and how you're going to set the site up, who your client is, how it's all going to work, it's not going to matter when it all washes out. And so, you know, I'm not too concerned about that. And honestly, there's so many stinking niches and so many places that you can go that, you know this. I mean, I told you the other day, we went almost too wide too fast. We built like 30 or 40 sites within a month and a half, and almost went too wide too fast. And now we're having to go, oh, hang on. We need to go back and make sure. And every one of these had a client up front. None of these were built without already having a client in place. And so,
but they were all commission-only deals, right?
Yes. They were all lead gen, and they were all commission-only, you know, percentage deals. And so that's why in June, July, even this month, I am 100% focused on getting flat fee deals. And because of that, we've increased our income now to the point where that flat fee is paying the bills. Lead gen is just gravy.
To me, it's a diversification play. If I look at this,
it is.
You look at this just like anything else, right? If I'm buying paper for you know, car loans, I had a car loan company where I loan out money. You know, you're going to take your vanilla paper, the good ones, the flat fee deals. You're going to take those whenever you can get them because it's guaranteed money. And then you're going to take the risky deals and you're gambling a little bit. And that's all this is. It's like, you guys need to have a portfolio and a strategy, and there's no, like, magic number. Corey did it one way. I did it a different way. And you know what? At the end of the day, it shakes out. I can tell you, and I don't want to drag this call on anymore. I think it's been fantastic, actually, to kind of get some third-party feedback, and I think everyone will really enjoy this. I can tell you that the only thing that matters at the end of the day is that you put effort into your business every day, that you create action every day, and action will create more action. If you're putting yourself out there, if you're prospecting a little bit, if you're building another site, if you're doing something each and every day, okay, that's going to result in a lead or a sale for you, your business will flourish. If you want to sit online and view tools and watch YouTube videos and buy the next newest training, okay, your business will fail. And we've seen this over and over and over again. And Corey is very much like me in the sense that the tools and all the garbage really doesn't matter. What really matters is action and not quitting. That's it, right? I mean, what's your thought?
And I think even, a year into this, or a little over a year now, if I wouldn't have been persistent in this, we'd be nowhere near where we're at. And it's just been a constant every month. And there's some months where, recently I told you we've had to fire clients because they're a pain. I'm not chasing money anymore. I'm not spending all my time with one client that's going to consume me for $500 or whatever a month. It's not worth it. And so, we're at a point now in our business where we can control that a lot better and do a lot of that. And I don't have time to piddle around with all that other stuff. It's get on the phone with the clients that matter. Make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. Put the things in place to make sure that you're taking care of your clients every month. Do the things that follow the process every time. And we're still following the same exact process I followed a year ago. None of that's changed. I just have become better at it. I've just become better.
And more confident, right? Confidence is the big killer. Is that I can't do this. I'm different than all these people, or the big one I hear quite often. This is one. So don't let this be you, because I will smack you around. Is, hey Dan, this just ain't for me. Hey, I get that one. In fact, I'm not going to call the guy out. Because I really respect him a ton for what he did. He sent me a message the other day on Facebook. He said, Dan, what do I do if this just ain't for me? And I said, you do whatever the heck you want. But if it was me and I just invested money into myself, I'd go out and get a damn return on my investment. Why don't you pull up your big boy pants, call up the company that told you no, and find a way to put a deal together. No joke. 5 minutes later, now this guy had been sitting on this project. It's generating a ton of leads for 3 months.
Oh, my goodness.
He writes me back within 5 to 10 minutes of me saying that to him via chat. And he goes, I just landed the deal. Thank you for the pep talk. So the difference, look at this. Look at this. It's like a defining line. And it's like, how bad do you want to go work for someone else for the rest of your life? So in closing statements, first of all, if you guys don't mind, Corey is busy with his business, so don't blast him with, can you help me and all that stuff on Facebook. It's a little overwhelming. I know, because I deal with it every day, and I can only imagine how many people don't talk to me and try to go around me and talk to these other people that are successful. Guys, you have all the success tools you need. Show up on the calls. We'll do interviews with Corey more often on these calls and other students and whatnot. But, yeah, in closing, guys, write down your creed of why you're doing what you're doing, okay? Write down that reason why you joined, okay? Pin it to wherever you need to pin it. Write it down every morning or every day and work your ass off for that, because money don't really matter. That's a fact. Nope. None of us care. Money's just paper, just numbers on the screen. The only thing that really matters is generally your family or your time, all these things that we have, that money allows us to have more of, that we can enjoy, so we can enjoy life a little bit more. The money part of it really doesn't matter. So pull that, get that stress off your back, okay? Obviously, we're here to help you guys make money, but at the end of the day, what really matters is that you could retire your wife like Corey did and got her out of, where she was working, where he didn't want her working anymore, not because it was a bad thing, but just because of some health issues. Or for me, it was, I didn't want to be working the 6 and 7 days a week, 12 hours a day at the car business. I didn't enjoy myself. I wasn't seeing my new daughter that was born. Like, those are the things that need to drive you when the friction happens, or when you say to yourself, man, I don't think this is for me. No. Failure is not an option, and I think both Corey and I are here to tell you today that we're going to be, at least I and Brad will be here, Corey will be in the background. If you guys ever have questions in the Facebook group, you'll see him ping in, but we're here to help you guys along the way. We're here to give you some sound advice as you jump into this job-killing experience. I know we talked about some things on this call that you guys have yet to learn. They will make sense here soon. with that, Corey, thanks for jumping on. We probably spent way more time than you anticipated since I just pinged you on Facebook and said, hey, would you do an interview with me? And but I really appreciate it. You're always awesome with your time, and I do appreciate it. So please, guys, be respectful of Corey's time and don't nail him over the head with a million private messages. Keep it in the group. All the questions are there. And that's it, man. Appreciate it.
Sounds good. All right, thank you.
All right, man.